Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
So for those of you guys, well, we're getting into it because we got 20 live viewers here. That'll grow as we go. And either way, this is also going on the Buy Box Bandits recording, posted tomorrow as well. So Chris, you want to give us a little background on yourself and
Sure.
everything?
Yeah, so I've been selling on Amazon for, I guess, a decade or more, maybe 11 years, I guess. I sold insurance first. Before that, was flipping pizza in grade school. And then when I got to selling on Amazon, I just started, I kind of started recording what I was doing and sharing, what I learned and answering questions in Facebook groups and stuff like that. And then I started, making courses and now I'm the chief meme officer of, of what we do, and so, yeah, I've just been around for a long time, tried a lot of different things, and I'm not afraid of taking chances. So that's kind of what I like to do.
Yeah. And what attracted you to OA? Like why did that become your niche?
I had a kid. It's really the biggest thing. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to, when I was doing retail arbitrage, so when I had a regular job and I was doing retail arbitrage, on Saturday, I would leave the house at, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would get home at midnight after, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Ohio, but I would drive from Columbus to Dayton to Cincinnati and back, and I would source all the Myers and Walgreens along the way. And I don't mind the hustle, and I enjoy driving. I put like 250,000 miles on my Honda Accord all by myself. But we wanted to start a family, and I knew that if I was going to quit my job and retail arbitrage was going to be my living, I was going to need to do that kind of thing 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, maybe take the weekends off, unless Meyer does 50% clearance on electronics, and then I've got to hit the stores. So I said, you know what, let's figure out another way. Let's, because I want to be home. I don't want to miss, my kids' first steps. I don't want to, I want to be able to help potty train. I want to make sure, I'm there for that kind of stuff. And so online arbitrage is I was like, all right, I can be at home. I can, if I'm like, I work a ton, but right before we hopped on, I was able to make sure my kid is in the bath and, made sure he had dinner and all that kind of stuff. And so I wouldn't be able to do that if I was doing retail arbitrage hard like I was.
And so from the point you started that transition to OA, how quickly did you find TA, and how quickly did you start to really adapt that into your business? Are you still a TA user?
Yeah. I use TA every day. I started some scans before we hopped on.
Do you own Tactile Expander?
I do not. No,
I thought you did. Yeah.
So Tactile Expander used to be Storefront Stalker Pro.
I knew that. Yeah.
And that was built by my best friend, Nate McAllister.
That's right.
And then he partnered up with Javier. Javier he's not a guy who, does videos or social media or anything, but he's probably one of the smartest people in the Amazon space. And he created Tactical Bucket and a few other things. He built Sales Gazer. That was an idea him and I had one weekend while he was visiting here from Spain. And then he had it, up and running about a week later. But him and Nate got together and they're like, hey, let's make this a little bit better. And so they created Tactical Expander Lite and full versions. But no, unfortunately, I don't own that.
Mm-hmm. Rev ROI, though, that's new, right?
Well, actually, Rev ROI is something I built 6 years ago.
You've been promoting it more as of late, I think, though? I only heard about it past few months.
Yeah, I decided to make it free.
Cool.
So, and since it's free, I figured, I might as well promote it more. I never really promoted it very much. I only charged like $4.95 for it.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, let's just make this thing free and give it to everybody. And so now I'm trying to push it out a little bit harder I'd like to get to 10,000 users. So it'll get
6,000.
I was helping you out here.
Yeah, just plugged it. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
On that, yeah, dude, Kyle, IND4, don't ship any stuff there. It's a black hole.
So
I
one
know,
one
just
thing I
like
really want
stealing
to
from
ask you
people.
is, go ahead, Moss.
I don't ship stuff to IND4. That's all I got.
Oh, is that the shoe black hole?
They're
Is that
just
what
like,
that was?
yeah, dude, it's great. Like literally, like hundreds of thousands of dollars is being sucked out of the Bezos is stealing from the reselling community.
Homie's
Nah,
walking.
Jeff, I love you if you're listening. I love you,
Homie's walking out with the Air Force Ones that people are
bro.
shipping.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
It's got to have that old man drip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you
Anyways,
saying, Garrett?
something I want to ask you is TA specifically gets so much kind of negative attention, backlash in terms of being a software that doesn't necessarily work super well or doesn't necessarily find as many products as people say it does. So what would you say to that, and how do you use it specifically?
So I think one of the biggest problems is, all right, so one, we've got human nature. And if we don't understand something or something doesn't work for us the exact way we want it to, human nature is to deflect blame, which again, I do the same thing. When my wife tells me that I forgot to do something, that's not my fault. I didn't write it down, or you didn't tell me enough times. And so we like to push the blame onto software or rules or whatever. And that's not a good or a bad thing, but if we can get over that, it makes our lives a little bit better, a little bit easier, because we realize that, well, maybe it's a learning curve more than it is anything else. Now, is tactical arbitrage perfect? Absolutely not. There is no software that is perfect. That's impossible because it's computer and it's based on algorithms and good input versus bad input and all of that stuff. The way that I use tactical arbitrage is something I like to call the shotgun method. And so what I will do is I take storefront stalking and I kind of put it on steroids. I go and I grab 50, 100, 250,000 ASINs from different storefronts that I've found on products that I think are good starting places. So maybe they're things I'm selling, maybe they're products that I'd like to sell, and I download all these ASINs from these storefronts that are on Amazon. I upload those to Tactical Arbitrage. I use very, very few filters and allow the reverse search to run. And the reason I do that is, one, it's faster when you're using fewer filters. And are you going to get things like mismatches or other stuff? Yeah, you are. But it's really, really quick and easy to just scroll right on past those. Alternatively, if you want to be like a rock star, you take those mismatches, which everyone else is just skipping over, and you do the work to manually search them and find the actual winners. But yeah, I run big, massive searches, and then I use the on-page filters, and I'll get a little bit closer to what I want. So maybe I want things that sell at least 15 times a month, and maybe I want to make at least $3 in profit and a 30% ROI, and then I start going through those items, and I keep up, or the history graph up on the very left-hand side, so that I can scroll through really fast. And I mean, you guys can do it too, because you guys know what a keep a graph looks like that you're interested in.
Right.
So I can scroll through 25 of them in 30 seconds a minute, and maybe pick out one or two that deserve a little bit more of my time. So in the end, you really just need to use tactical arbitrage as an aggregator of information more than anything else. It pulls in the data that it can. Sometimes Amazon gives it bad data. Sometimes the stores give it bad data. And you just skip over those ones and you pick out the gold that's lying there.
What?
So
How much was the price increase?
Incapable is not incapable of finding products.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry,
used
say
it
that
all the
again?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's definitely not incapable of finding products. It does take, there's a learning curve, and it takes some patience to really get good with it. But once you're good with it, it is a great product.
Go ahead,
What's
Miles.
up? On that, yeah, I was gonna say, like, what year was the biggest inflection point for you business wise, outside of quitting your job, like of the full-time years or in Amazon? I was trying to get
Oh, man.
Larry to answer that. He didn't really have a good answer, which is
It's
meteoric
a tough
growth every
question.
year.
It's not necessarily
It is
something
tough.
yeah.
Well, and you and I have only been doing it like 2-3 years, so we haven't even had that,
The sample size is pretty small.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
19, 20, or 21, or 20, you know what I'm saying? It's not that. All right, but go ahead.
That's a tough one. I would say outside of quitting my job, maybe actually getting up the nerve to do merchant fulfilling. For a long time.
It's a hot
For a
topic.
long
Don't get
time,
me started on that. Yeah, I won't get
Yeah.
into it, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, for a long time, I didn't want to do that. I thought it'd be too much work, or I wouldn't be able to afford the shipping, or whatever it was. But once I realized how much power there is in it, I think 2 Q4s ago, we sold one brand of product over 3 months, and we did like 150 or 160,000 in sales on one brand.
Yep.
And it was all merchant fulfilled. It was while I was helping run a Q4 group, where I did sourcing every day and videos and all of that. And it was just, it's not hard. It's not something to be afraid of. And it's a really easy way to turn over capital really, really fast.
Yeah, because it's not even just selling the first item quicker, it's the buying more quicker. Part two, it's the replenishing much quicker, not needing to worry about check-in times, ST transfer, any stuff like that. Mariko in the building. What do you guys think of new listings like 60 days old, but the Keepa is looking good? The Keepa is looking good. The Keepa is looking good. I would avoid buying a ton of something. If you don't have a ton of data like that, I would test it first. But I definitely think if it looks good, it makes sense to test, whether it has 600 days of data or 60 days of data. That's not to say, though, that there's naturally that's going to be better in some cases, because other people are going to be like, damn, it only has 60 days of data. Like, I'm not sure, and everything like that. But yeah, definitely something to test, even if just in small quantities on that.
Mhm.
Chris, you have a similar answer or different?
Yeah, no, that's about the answer I would give. I know that not everyone goes that route, so I know.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, I created a new listing for a product that came out.
Name brand or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
cool. Okay, I want to
yeah.
talk about that. Yeah, because I want to learn that.
And so I created a listing, and I knew that it was going to be a product where when people found the listing, I
Yep.
sold through all my inventory really quick. That was great. But I knew that when other sellers found the listing, there was going to be a ton of sellers to hop on. And that did happen. I quit selling it just as quickly as I created it, but not hard, and people shouldn't be afraid of that either.
What's that process look like? Do you supply the pictures? I'd say probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people will go and take pictures from other websites.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just because that kind of stuff technically is copyrighted. If I go to a Walmart and take a photo from there, that's technically their copyrighted information. And so if someone wanted to and actually figure it out, they could come after you. So, honestly, I threw the items down on what was it? I have my desk is L-shaped. It's black. And of course, because I'm on YouTube and stuff, I keep a nice light up here.
Yeah.
So I point the light at it. I take, decent photos. They were not that great. Throw them in Canva, remove the background, and that's it. You're good to go.
Do you need to be in brand registry, or is that just from your old PL products?
No, I've never been brand registered. You don't have to be brand registered. I created these as a bundle, and so they're technically, the brand is generic, even though they're a name brand product, and then the name brand is in the title, and that's all done up properly.
And then, what's the rank on that item now? If it's selling pretty quick, because that's gangster. If you created like a 25K rank listing, or like just out of thin air, basically.
Hold on, I'll tell you what the rank is right now.
This is a very good question. When is it smart to test an unranked product? When you can see a lot of Keepa history of the Keepa drops, the offer count going up and down, stuff like that. You can see that people have been on it for a while. I've sold 800 of an unranked listing the last 4 days and made like $5,000 of profit off it.
Yeah, that's something that happens like
kind of a lot. Kind of a lot though. Yeah.
The Amazon, everything's based on data, right? And so if Keepa glitches for a particular product's data, right, that product isn't going anywhere. The product is still selling, right? So if it did have a sales rank and then just disappears, that's a good opportunity where other people are going to miss it. TAs are going to stop looking for it. All these sorts of software is going to skip over it. And so as long as you can validate that the reviews are still going up or sellers are still selling it, that's a really good opportunity to go on that product. Do you have the sales rank for us?
Yeah. So the sales rank as of like 14 minutes ago was
This
32,167.
man, he can just do anything.
The best sales rank was on the 25th of August at 14,450.
There we go. It's interesting. I'm curious your answer on this, Chris. I think the biggest difference in sales rank in most categories is like 5K to 15K is the biggest difference in velocity on products from my anecdotal experience.
That could be. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about that.
Yeah.
Just because that information is such a black box that Amazon
Yeah.
they don't give us enough, you know.
They should, yeah.
I wish they would give us, more information. Have you ever read like what Amazon says about sales rank, like
No,
in their
let's hear
terms
it.
and stuff?
Yeah,
So like I know that one of the things that a lot of newer sellers think is that, oh, well, it only sells when the rank goes down. And I mean, that's not true. The rank can go from 14,000 to 25,000 and it's still selling. Heck, it could be selling the exact same amount at 14,000 and 25,000. It's just the fact that other products in the category have started selling faster.
Yeah.
And then there's like historical sales velocity counts towards sales rank. So if something has been ranked 14,000 for 8 years, it will move upward in rank or worse in rank a lot slower than that listing that I just created a couple weeks ago.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah.
That's
Good
really
ROI. Good ROI is you should set your average around 30%. That's with an OA model. That's what it'll end up being around.
What
when you
about for you, Chris? Do you have like
Yes.
specific thresholds that you're looking for from a 20-foot view?
I mean, typically I'm looking for, right around 30% ROI. But if, let's say you find a unicorn product that, say, cost you $10, you make a 10% ROI on it, so you make $1, all right? But let's say that I could sell 500 of them a month and the price never changes.
Yeah.
I'd buy it all day long.
Of course.
So my opinion is that you should have some rules in place to make your life easier, but you also need to give yourself some room just in case you need to bend those rules. There are some sellers who they do retail arbitrage of shoes and clothing only, and they have a little like grid for their sourcers who go out and source for them, and it's got like 3 or 4 rules on it. And what they do for their sourcers to make their life easy is they're like, you've got to follow all of these rules, but you can break one of the rules.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
That is such a good idea. Yeah. That is
So,
such a good idea.
let's say shoes, for example, it's got to be a $10 or better profit. It's got to be a 30% ROI or better. It has to be, say, ranked under 100,000. And let's say there's got to be less than 100 variations. Okay, well, you find a product that meets all of those except for there's 120 variations. All right, that's the rule we're going to break, but I'm still meeting the 3 other criteria. And so I think having something similar in our own businesses, whatever that is important.
Yeah. And
yes.
that's the same analysis we run every single product we look at, but it just happens that.
Yeah, and it's not formulaic. Right? Yeah.
And it's all because every single factor is interdependent, right? Some products are going to move faster, some products are going to generate less profit, and it all kind of, some products are going to have a higher ease of purchase, as we talk about, right? It all kind of interdependently tracks. Moscow.
Yeah, it still does, Matt. Definitely. You just want to be using the Seller App mobile app on that, so you can see the Keepa as well. Can't focus. Put the Batman mic down. That's good banter. That's a CPA lawyer question. Savinsky on that. Chris, yeah.
Are you doing any wholesale now, or?
Yeah.
I do very, very little. As of right now, I have 1 wholesale account, and I haven't ordered from them in months. It's one of those things every January 1st, I'm like, you know what, we really need to pick up our wholesale this year. And then by the time Q4 rolls around, I'm like, oh, crap.
And then you start sourcing OA and you find 5 OA leads that you can buy. Then it's like, maybe next year we'll get to it.
Exactly.
Listing of a bundled item with marketing items with your company name on it to limit competition on a listing, like a pen, scooper. I don't see why not. Am I missing something?
This is probably a little gray hat, but I know exactly what he's talking about. There's this company, or there's a seller out there called Buy the Cup.
Oh,
and they sell
that's insane.
tea bundles.
We just talked about that on our last episode. The ramen stuff, but with the chapstick or the chopsticks.
Yeah. So
that you just brought that up.
that is like little like that is
Yeah.
There's weird coincidences like that. That's one of them, definitely.
Does Amazon allow it? It seems so. But is that completely above board? I don't know. It's a little murky in the terms of service, if that's okay. Because technically, they're putting their product. They call them Buy the Cup, and then it'll say the brand of whatever it is. Ramen noodles, for example, variety pack. Technically, when you create a bundle like that, the item that is more expensive is supposed to be the brand. Well, I'm sorry, but the spoon or the whatever they're putting is not more expensive than the ramen, even though ramen is super cheap. And so is that outside of terms of service? Maybe. I'm not really sure. I've always wanted to do what they do, but I also don't want to get nailed on something like that by Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite category to do OA in?
Beauty and personal care.
Why?
Wow.
The items are small. People they fall in love with a brand. So you've got brand loyalty. And the price ranges that you can play in are all over the place. We could sell an e.l.f. makeup product and we could source it for $3 and sell it for $9 or $10 or $11. Or we can go out and we can find some high-end brands and we can source for $75 or $100 and sell for $200. I tend to stay on the higher end because people get a little bit scared away from spending $100 on one unit of something to flip on Amazon. And it also makes your ASP look a lot bigger. It makes the numbers look sexy, but it also keeps other people away from what I want to source.
What would you say your ASP is?
In total, right now, it's like 38.
It's like exactly what ours is. Yeah, literally, it's exactly what ours is, basically.
Yeah, I'd like to get that up to the $50 range, eventually.
Why?
Well, you can sell fewer units and you've got, higher gross revenue. And then typically, if you're sourcing properly, those higher priced items, you can, 10% off $100 is $10. 10% off of $10 is $1. So you can get a little bit deeper discounts on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you get more cash back. My cash back from one sourcing trip at a site the other day was like $105.
There we go.
So that's really nice. And then people they're not going to spend $100 a unit like I will, which keeps people away. And that's kind of nice.
Agreed. When you created your brand name listing, did you need to advertise or no due to searchable brand name?
That's a good question.
Very good question.
Okay. Here's what I did. I happened to choose an item that was really kind of a layup. It was a product that I knew was going to be released. A similar product is released every single year. And what I did is I went on Amazon and I searched for the term without the brand name. Okay. People probably know the brand name. It's common. But I searched for the product the way that I would search for it as a customer. What I noticed is that the product was not showing up on Amazon. All right. However, the A10 search algorithm was auto-populating the keyword. Okay. So when you're on Amazon and let's say you start typing, let's say you start typing makeup brush. Well, Amazon will autofill in makeup brush set or whatever. So I put in the keywords I was looking for, and it auto-populated, exactly how I would search for this item. I said, okay, this means people are searching for this item already on Amazon, and they're not finding it. So I created the listing, I used those keywords, and so I did not have to put any PPC behind it because people were already looking for it.
That's wild. And so you knew you had a winner from off the get-go.
If I say yes, it makes me sound a little vain or a little egotistical. But yeah, on this one, I was pretty sure it was going to be a layup.
And how many units of that product did you buy off the rip?
I could only so it's only available. That's not true. You can order it online from one place, but they did not have any available to order online. And so I went to 12 of the local locations, and I was able to get like 60. So I sold 30 units because I made a 2-pack.
Got it. Within like a day or two?
So it took a day for Amazon to index, and then over the next 2 days, I sold out. And then right as I had the last unit in there, someone found the listing, and so they hopped on as well. And now there's I think there might be 25 sellers on there right now.
And
that's why the rank's fire.
Yeah. Obviously, you got to name the price. What factors played into naming that price? Did you just use the last year's variation? Or, I mean, you could have placed anything, right?
I could have placed anything. I chose, so this was a $6 cost of goods sold for the 2-pack, okay? Cheap product. I decided to, since I was going to be first to market, that I was going to be priced at a premium. Okay. Yep. So I chose $29.67. All right. And the reason I chose $29.67 is, well, 29 keeps you under 30. So people don't feel like they're paying $30. 67 has some psychological.
Yeah. You gotta, repricing tip for the boys and girls watching. Your minimum always should be a random number like that. So you're hiding that it's your minimum on the repricer.
I like
that. Yeah.
So I chose a premium price being first to market. I mean, I just did it based on, if I want to get 3 times my price, let's see how far I can push it. And I was willing to come down after like 3 days. I was like, if I don't get any sales in 3 days, I'll bring this down to something that's a little bit more realistic, like maybe $24.67. But I sold out at my price, and I was happy with it.
That's wild.
Cole, in terms of listing the brand, or what do you mean, Cole? I'm missing that part.
So I think I might understand what the question is. So if you want to create a listing, you cannot create a listing for a product that you are gated in and use the term generic or anything like that to get around gating. That's against terms of service, and if they find out, you'll get a smack on the wrist or a suspension.
So good.
That audio is hitting, Miles. Look at you.
Oh. Really? It is? Good. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Oh, dude. That's my guy, Mauricio. Garrett, you got a game to get to?
Nah, I'm not going tonight.
You're letting the squad down?
Dude, I already would have had to leave at 7. So.
Bro, hey! I'm not the one letting my team down. That's all I'm saying. I'm not the one letting my team down. Yes, correct. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Chris. Another question for you here. Is it good right here, or is it weird ASMR too loud?
No, it's all right.
Oh, cool. I'm learning. On that. So, in a perfect situation, how would your day-to-day or business optimizations, how does it look differently 1 year from now?
A lot more outsourcing. That's something I have a problem with. I'm trying to stop being a control freak, and that's very, very difficult for me. I'm fortunate. I have the capacity to take in a lot of information and put out a lot of information. I have the capacity to do a lot of things. I am getting to the point where it's a little bit more difficult. There's just too much to do. And so I need to allow others to do things that I usually do, even if it's only 80% as good as I might do it. And that's something I struggle with. So hopefully in a year from now, that's something that I work on and actually have a little bit more of a team kind of supporting the business.
I mean, you got a lot of feet in a lot of different doors, so it's impressive what you got going on. You're not using a prep center, are you?
Yeah, I use a prep center.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 100% prep center. I tried to bring in a young gentleman who wanted to learn Amazon, and I tried to bring him in, let him live at my house, even so that he could, learn how to do all this. And he was going to prep, and we were going to bring some things local, so he could kind of figure everything out. But unfortunately, it didn't work out, and so I'm all prep center.
Products to find now to stock up for Q4. So it's going to be hard to not hit well with toys on stuff. That's not to say, though, that the stuff you do right now is probably just going to be better during Q4. So in my opinion, if you have less than like 20 or like 50 grand of liquid cash, I would just focus on quick clips for now, because those same quick flips are just going to be better, and it's going to compound your skills and money quicker to keep focusing on turning that capital.
Mm-hmm.
When you post office, you put them in a box, you send them off, same way we do it today. That's kind of thing where it's like hard the first time you do it, and then you do it like the 50th time 3 months later, and it's pretty easy. You just got to get going and do that first one, chaps.
Chris, do you remember your first FBA shipment?
I do. Yeah.
Shit was hard. That's confusing.
Any horror stories, or it went pretty smoothly?
My shipment, well, see, there were a lot fewer sellers when I could get on the phone with Jeff, almost if I wanted to, back when I was selling, first got started. And things were a lot different. The inbound process was difficult, but, fairly easy. So I got that in fine. They got everything fine. It was all good. But the horror stories that I have is, back then, you could commingle your inventory all the time. And so if you ordered something from me, you might actually get Miles product, and, I get the sale, and, Miles is selling like black market Nikes.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah. Why dudes can't be commingling stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so I got hit with several complaints for like used like new and stuff like that. And that made me stop selling commingled inventory. But I've had other than the one suspension that I've had in, the 10, 11 years, I've been pretty lucky on Amazon.
Is the account health dashboard completely green right now? Completely clear? Not so much.
Yes. Yes, it is. So I am appealing a BS complaint I got the other day. I got an email that said that either I or someone I know is writing reviews for products that I might have a monetary interest in. I thought about just accepting and saying, I've read the terms of service, I won't let it happen again. But I wanted to put something on record and let them know that, no, we do not do that kind of stuff. We're a lot smarter than that, and we'll see what comes of that. But I don't have any IP complaints. I don't have any used as new or inauthentic complaints. I'm all good for now.
Yeah, that's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a big spike in authenticity complaints in the past year, 8 months or so. Have you noticed that?
I'm undefeated, baby. They can keep them coming. I'll keep beating them.
So I don't sell a whole lot of shoes and clothing. I think you guys do.
That's why it makes sense that would be counted. You can't counterfeit a consumable as easily. And if you do, you get caught easier.
The beauty products, I come up more with expiration dates more than anything else. Someone will say, "Oh, this was short dated" or whatever. Also, usually total BS. Mm-hmm. And this may be one of the reasons that I'm stupidly don't sell in shoes and clothing. Is I used to write suspensions for people, so people get suspended, I'd get them reinstated. And on many occasions, people would say, "Oh, well,
everything. He's done everything."
People would say, "Oh, this is inauthentic," and you come to find out maybe they'd gained 10 pounds and their polo t-shirt didn't fit quite right, so they call it inauthentic. The problem was they weren't pushing back from the table. It's not that the shirt was not actual polo. So
this is a good question. I think we probably asked you this the last time we had you on, but you've been here a while, right? A lot of people who listen to us particularly, been here, 3, 4, 5 years. What are some of the biggest differences in when you first started, kind of the whole landscape as opposed to now?
Oh man. I mean, it really was the Wild West. Okay. So when I got started, I was gated in everything. Okay. You could sell in like one category. And I started with books, and magazines. You guys want to know what my very first sale on Amazon was?
I think you told us the last time, and it was something weird, wasn't it? Say it again.
It was a vintage Playboy magazine.
I knew it. Yeah. You did. Yep.
So, but it really was the Wild West. You could I got ungated in just about every category with Walmart receipts. All right. I went over to Walmart. It was like when self-checkout first came out, I self-checked out with everything. And I sent in just a receipt where I circled some numbers, and they're like, yeah, you're good to go. To get ungated in the adult section of Amazon, you had to take pictures of the things in that category, and you had to Photoshop them and give them like a white background. And then you had to email those into Amazon. And so I was emailing. My wife looks over my shoulder and she's like, "What are you doing? What are you looking?" And I'm like, "This is how you get ungated. It's weird." And then I email it to some guy.
It will make money someday.
I email it to some guy at Amazon, and he looks at him and then says, "Oh, okay, you can sell adult products on Amazon."
Imagine being the guy on the other side of that email.
Yeah. Do you think it's AI?
All he looks at all day long.
Do you think it's AI that does the ungating receipts, or if it's manual, someone that's deciding?
I think it's probably still manual. I highly doubt it's AI.
Well, and why? Because it's so kind of just hit or miss on whether this receipt will work or this receipt will work.
Well, and sometimes you miss something 4 times, you get 4 times denied, and the 5th time
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I think that is I don't know that AI is getting good. Okay. But I don't know that it's there yet where it could read a receipt and figure out whether or not you should be ungated and stuff like that. Maybe. But I also know, from people that have worked at Amazon that I've consulted with and stuff like that, that everyone thinks it's this well-oiled, well-run machine. It's not. Everything is duct taped together, and all these processes are all over the place. And so it is a person in another country, who has to get through 100 an hour, and that's it.
That's interesting.
Going out with Romer is a time. I would recommend you guys all try it some.
Going out with Miles is a time. I recommend.
Romer was wearing flip flops. We were about me, you, Danny, and Romer. Yeah.
That dude wasn't just
Caleb.
Flip flops. He was in sweatpants.
Joggers and flip at his own event too, and the club. Yeah.
And then he pulls up to what was it? It was Blackbird or shirt.
We all got kicked out because I was wearing shorts and then someone else was wearing shorts. Yeah. What do you do when used FBM gets buy box and you're selling new? Ooh.
So I'm guessing
something's
off on
that
this Sean, let me ask you this. Is it a video game?
That's why it was a book or a video game. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So here's the thing. Yes, the buy box gets over 80% of the traffic and the sales and all of that. But there are going to be people who are like, no, I want new. So if the velocity is there, even if an FBM seller selling in used condition has the buy box, well, if I buy a video game, I'm not buying used typically. You end up getting one with a scratch in it, never works, or skips right at the save point, and then you lose everything. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to buy new, and there's plenty of other people who are like me who are going to do the same thing.
I think books are the opposite, though. If you ever buy a book, are you getting used?
Oh, I do, definitely. Yeah.
A lot of times, yes, but you may not be able to see how many books I've got. I've also got a little bit of a
Lopez
problem.
Over there. Yeah.
So I do like to keep the books somewhat nice.
What are some good ones? What should the people read? Our 77 viewers and a couple hundred people who will be listening to the replay.
Atomic Habits is the GOAT.
Yep,
It's
agreed.
the greatest of all time.
Yeah, because
so that
stems.
is number one.
Yeah.
The E-Myth Revisited, fantastic.
Skip
reading
the
something,
line, right?
Skip the Line is
Yeah.
fantastic. Reading something like Profit First or Small Time Operator is a must. But if you want some like good books that you can take some business advice away from that aren't necessarily business books, Leo Tolstoy's A Calendar of Wisdom is really, really good. The Obstacle is the Way, fantastic. Fantastic book. Trying to see what else here. The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. What's that?
How many books are you reading a month?
Not enough, probably 2. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. Right now, I'm reading a really good book right now. I'm reading 3 books right now. I'm trying something out. How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. Really interesting book. It's got a spammy title, but this is the guy who is the founder of Maxim magazine. And so he's got some really interesting stuff in there. I'm reading The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler, which was recommended to me by Dylan. You guys know Dylan. And I'm also, at night, I am reading Building a Second Brain, which is all about how to kind of take information that, like, our brain, and this was also from Dylan Carter in our podcast, but and once he said it, I was like, dude, that's so spot on. But your brain is not really supposed to be a storage place. It's a processing place. It's a place, for you to input information and get better ideas out of. And you really need to have a place where you store things. And so Building a Second Brain is kind of about how to use digital things to create a store place for us so that we can have better ideas.
Are you a Notion guy?
A little bit, but I need to get much, much more into it. I just haven't taken the time.
Yeah, I don't use it either, but it is cool. Issues with Hoka? No, Erwin, you shouldn't. Are you seeing issues with Hoka? A lot of people aren't, or everyone that I know that sells it.
Scared away of the IP alert.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's the thing. With the IP alert on Hoka, all right, and
anything in general. Yeah.
So you guys know, I'm the one who approves every single IP alert that goes into and I do all the research. So with Hoka, we had about 7 people who sent me verified IP claims. Is it possible that all 7 people got hit by some seller who was doing it and saying they were Hoka brand?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But because I have the information, I've got to put it in there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The thing about IP alert or seller amps IP, flags or anything, it's just a data point. There's 1 or 2 products that have IP alerts that I sell on a regular basis. And I just use it as another data point rather than the end-all, be-all. Because the thing about brands, so for example, last year, right before Q4, Starbucks started filing IP complaints on everybody, on cups, mugs, stuff like that. They left the coffee alone. A week later, they stopped. Earlier this year, Walgreens does the same thing to Walgreens branded products. They get hundreds and hundreds of ASINs removed from the catalog. And then they stopped, and there has not been a complaint since. So I did take Walgreens out. I took Starbucks out. I don't have enough data to take Hoka out yet. And there's a couple others that I try to go through every now and again and just see if I can remove them, because I don't want someone not selling just because they see an IP claim.
That's actually super interesting. What is the criteria to remove something? Like, what more data are you looking for?
Honestly, it's usually I go in and I put my own account at risk and sell 4 or 5 different ASINs of the brand and see what happens. And what I do is I'll send in products and I will price them so that they don't sell very quickly. so that like I'm staying on the brand for weeks at a time and seeing if someone's coming after me.
Is that's the truth?
That's
That
you ballsy, dude. Yeah,
that's the
that's
only.
love.
Well, I keep a
Someone's
lawyer.
got to go to war, man. Yeah, it's got.
I keep a lawyer on retainer to be able to help me out when I
Yeah.
need it. So,
That's pretty cool.
but yeah, that's the only way that I can figure it out for sure and be able to stand behind my product 100%.
That's a good question. So if there's no IP alert, that means you have no data showing that there's ever been an IP complaint?
Correct. It just means that I don't have any data. It doesn't mean that an IP complaint
Yeah.
couldn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'll get people who will buy IP alert after they get an IP claim. And then they'll email me and say, hey, Chris, you suck. You don't have this brand in IP alert. Well, the thing is there's literally over 1 million brands on Amazon, and there's like 80,000 new brands a month that come onto Amazon. And a lot of them are like ICUP or, there's silly different brands that people just put on there. Those brands can file IP complaints, but I can't add the information unless I can verify that they have or I know that they will.
And it's all consumer driven, right?
It's consumer driven. That is if people would upload their IP complaints to me more frequently, it would make the product better. We do have, over 10,000 users now, and so they are coming in more and more frequently. That's a big, big help. And then I have to go out and I have to do the research manually. I'll go and look in the forums and see who's complaining, and I spend, which I hate. That place is a cesspool of bad information and people complaining all the time. I spend time over on Reddit, which is pretty much the same, and some other nooks and crannies I know about that you can find this kind of information. And we're starting to get some brands coming to us. And they're like, hey, listen, we're going to file IP complaints. If you want to add our brand to IP alert, we'd appreciate it. And if I can verify if I can verify that they're the brand owner and they ask me to, I will add it to IP alert.
Because, you got to think about how many people that use IP alert that simply just don't know how or don't feel like submitting that to you, right? Because I never knew how to submit a claim to you, right? So it's like, there's probably so many that you're missing just simply because people just don't submit them to you, right?
Yep. Yeah, most likely.
In your business today, would you say you're growing or maintaining?
So here's the thing. I am a lot different than you guys. I know you guys are in growth mode all the time.
Yeah.
So my goal is a little bit different. I need Amazon to be able to afford my lifestyle. Pays for the house, I don't have any car payments anymore. Pays for clothes and food and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it also allows me to make sure that I am really in tune with what's going on and I can stay on top of everything. That's always what I wanted Amazon to be. All right. But it's not a challenge. Selling on Amazon is not as big of a challenge anymore as I'm looking for to make sure that my ADD doesn't go off the rails. But what really drives me, what really motivates me is helping other people. So I got a message the other day, and this guy sent me a video of his son taking his first steps. And he was like, hey man, he's like, I no longer work a job and I didn't miss this. His son took his first steps like 3 p.m. He's like, I would have been at a job. That is what drives me now. And so being able to help and, get people out of the 9 to 5, that is the challenge I really want to take over.
Yeah, it's actually a good segue. That shirt that you're wearing, I know about it. Miles knows about it. But tell the 80-something people in this chat right now about OA Challenge and if it's too late to get into it or just what is it?
Oh yeah, so the OA Challenge is something we started a few years ago just to try to give all the knowledge I've got about online arbitrage. It's 14 days long. We typically do them live 3 or 4 times a year so that people can ask questions and all of that stuff.
Seb's had some good banter in here the whole time.
Uh, but yeah, I've taken everything I've learned, from just playing around on Amazon from other people, and I've distilled it down into a challenge to try to make sure that people can go away and take the information to create an income on Amazon. And that's all my Keepa knowledge that I've got, all tactical arbitrage, all manual sourcing. The next live, I will add SellerAmp to it because
Oh
SellerAmp
yeah,
was
and
not.
well, we should ought to talk
Yeah.
off camera about some stuff with that. Yeah.
But yeah, I teach everything I know, and when we do the lives, like I stay on, we make sure that every single question is answered. So when we do it live, I'll go live every day for 14 days for 2.5 hours just to make sure everybody gets their money's worth. And then we've got the replays available all the time as well.
And do you partner with someone for that? You kept that way.
So Chris Green, he's kind of like the original gangster of selling on Amazon. All right. He wrote the book Online Arbitrage and Retail Arbitrage, and he really pushed me to get into it. And then, my friend Nate McAllister, him and I are tight, and so the three of us partnered on it. So
was Chris Green the dude who was doing all the hand sanitizer at the start of COVID?
No, that was a couple other people.
Yeah, that dude. Because I was thinking that dude was throwing out wild takes on Facebook. Whoever was doing the hand sanitizer, I remember it's like I was on Facebook so much more back then. Someone who ripped a ton of hand sanitizer, I think his name was Chris, was just throwing out crazy takes on Facebook. I'm down for the challenge. Oh, what up, Jackson? Yeah. When does the next one start?
So we're getting into Q4 now, and I know it's a month before Q4,
Yeah.
but I won't have another live challenge until February.
Cool. All right. Use SellerAmp. Agreed. We got 8. Oh, just went up to 90. Cool. 90 you guys in here. Make sure you get a SellerAmp free trial. Link in the description. You wanna stay? We'll stay on for like 15 more minutes or so. Keep jamming on some questions.
Yeah, I'm good till 9.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So this will be our longest episode ever, I think. Then. So keep the questions, guys. We'll be on for another 15 minutes or so. So keep the questions rolling. Jackson, you just hopped in. You got any questions here?
So heading into Q4, Chris, do you sell much seasonal, holiday-specific items, or is it mainly just kind of jamming on the toys and the beauty stuff?
I don't sell any toys. Not a single one. Not anymore. I used to sell a ton of toys. Like we would rent trailers and go clean out Ross's and TJ Maxx. But once they started doing the CPCs, I stopped.
Yeah.
And actually, this year, I was like, you know what? I was like, let me sell a couple of toys. I've sent in 3. Every single one of them I got hit. And so I've recalled them all. I don't know. I'll probably give one to my son or donate the other ones or whatever. But I'm done with toys. Not a bad category. Not everything's going to get hit with CPC, and I don't want to, tell anyone they shouldn't sell toys. It's not for me anymore. I'm basic, so I will go pretty hard on pumpkin spice. That stuff is just stupid. But other than that, I really just stick to what sells, and the rising tide of Q4 lifts all boats. And I might go a little bit harder on home and kitchen. This is the first year, the first Q4, the first Christmas, where like everything is unlocked. There's no lockdowns anywhere in the country. Everything's open. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going in, hugging and kissing on their grandkids, and I think that is probably going to propel some more spending than we might expect, even though the economy is kind of, I don't know, puttering along at the moment.
Yeah, but there's never. Everyone's skills are getting better year over year. Everyone should make more money every Q4. Definitely. I'm checking out Amazon now. How are these sellers? Random question. My notice these are still up. Can't sell under the Amazon listing. Yeah, I don't know. Dudes must be if you mean multiple listings, cool. They're finessing it. A lower ROI, 40 to 50%. That's great.
That's high.
Your average should be lower than that if you're doing any type of scale. Higher end beauty would be great gifts. You gonna get me some higher end beauty, Kate? Oh, this is a good question. Yeah, you familiar with this? I've had a couple people ask about these, and I have no idea how to answer it well.
Vantage BP is absolutely a legit company. They're fleecing brands, is what they're doing. To be quite honest, they aren't lawyers that I know of. They are just a brand management company that promises that they will get sellers to stop selling your brand's products. And so they make money by being able to send out letters and even break Amazon's messaging terms of service by messaging sellers on Amazon. Typically, if I get a letter or an email from them, it goes directly into the trash, or I'll report it to Amazon, and I don't really pay much attention to it because I've never seen them actually file IP complaints or anything.
And what brands do they try to swindle people on?
Oh, they've got a list of their customers like on their website.
All right, let me check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to look big, because that will attract more brands to them.
It just makes sense. Yeah. Oh wow, Obey, Bose. Yeah, I've heard of those definitely.
Oh, so Sebus Kid. Chris got into the private label in the beginning. So
Seb is kid, Garrett. Basic pronunciations. On the damn, what do you think the score is right now, Garrett?
Oh, man, I don't know.
Well, the game hasn't even started. The game starts in a minute. Great info right here. Oh, appreciate you, Corey. Absolutely.
Chris,
what do you play?
Our call. Footy.
Yeah, he's soccer. Yeah,
it's skipping tonight. It is raining where we live, but we're it was raining at me. Yeah, you can see it in you could when it was light in there. Yeah. And everything. All right, guys. So we're gonna be on for like 10 more minutes or so. We just hit the hour mark. I think it's the longest episode ever. But fire away on the questions. Love to hear any online arbitrage, seller amp, reselling, any of those questions. Fire them away.
Chris, historically, what do you see a percentage increase in like December, November? Yeah, Q4 related.
Oh man, so I typically go by the numbers that Amazon reports. And I forget what those numbers are every year.
It's like a 2.5x or something like that increase in traffic.
It's a pretty significant number. And the only reason I don't say, oh well, I should sell 20% more is because it just depends how much hustle I put in. Right. There have been some years in Q4 where I was just super lazy, and then there's other years when I wasn't.
Yeah. Voorhees? They're the Vans one, right?
Yeah. So Voorhees is a law firm out of my hometown of Columbus, Ohio, and a couple other cities, and they do a lot of brand management. Now, typically, I don't see a lot of times that Voorhees is filing IP complaints because they actually need to follow the law, and you are not often actually infringing on someone's intellectual property. They very rarely will sue. I think they've only sued maybe a handful of times.
Bro, I'm sus either way. If they're even thinking about it, bro, I'm sus.
So what you can do with a Voorhees letter is, and seriously, have an attorney draft a letter back to them, letting them know that they're wrong and you're right, and then you probably won't hear from them again.
How much does that letter cost?
Yeah, I was thinking, what does a retainer cost for a decent, like $10K a year or something?
$89 a month, guys. Come on.
Whoa. Okay, Garrett, we're doing that like tomorrow. I don't know why I was thinking. Damn. Okay. Damn. I would. Yeah.
I will. Really? I will get you. I'll get you his information. I'll get you his information.
Should I? I feel like I should just have one for like general business shit too. Then I feel like.
Well, yeah. That kind of lawyer is probably going to cost you a little bit more money.
Okay.
But the way that Jeff handles things. He does an $89 a month retainer. You can have calls with him. He'll handle IP complaints, all that stuff. He got me reinstated when I got suspended for
what year did you?
I got suspended. I got suspended last June while I was on vacation in Jamaica.
How long was it down for?
Well, I got suspended like the second day I was in Jamaica, and I was going to be there for like 7 days. So I didn't even worry about it until I got home.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
So
That's impressive. I'd be tripping.
That shows he's well diversified. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a choice. You can either ruin your family vacation,
True.
or I can worry about it the entire time. So I had to figure out being a dad and a husband was more important than an Amazon account. So once I get back, it probably took another 3 weeks. I had to submit 12 or 15 different times. I had sworn affidavits. I had all kinds of information. Most of it was the fact that Amazon was denying it within 5 minutes, so I knew they weren't reading it, and that was the biggest issue.
And so your retaining lawyer, he does all the POAs and everything?
Yeah, he did the POAs. He drafted the affidavits for me, and I got suspended for an associated account. And it was because I sent a friend of mine whose account has been suspended for a long time. I sent their child a gift from my Amazon buyer account, and so it went to their address, and then Amazon pulls the address out of my buyer account into my seller account, and then they associate the accounts, which is complete garbage.
Yeah.
That stuff is so sketchy.
So what about the emails of the prep center as a limited user on your account? Because that I'm not gonna lie, I think about that like every few days.
There have been some cases where people think that could have caused some suspensions in the past. It seemed to happen once in Canada. There was like a rash of them where 100 sellers got suspended across 2 or 3 prep centers. But you kind of take a 50,000 foot view, and there were other things going on. All those people got reinstated. So letting a prep center, get into your account with limited access is not a problem. You don't need to be afraid of it.
Good.
Or anything like that.
Because what I'm thinking is like the entire Amazon agency space can't exist for private label stuff if that is a you know what I mean? Like that would not be a thing.
Well, and let's think about Inventory Lab, for example, or Seller Amp, or Tactical Arbitrage.
Oh, that's a good
How
point
many
too.
accounts are all of those things attached
That's
to?
a good point
on
too.
a limited basis through the API.
Yeah. So Seller Amp wouldn't be, but yeah, the other ones, yeah.
But
I put my MWS in Seller Amp.
Oh, my bad. I was trying to get like technical in the code. You are right though, I think. Yeah, my bad. I'm wilding on that. Yeah.
What's sketchy about prep centers though, are prep centers are actually like going in and logging in, which like Seller Amps and that stuff don't do, right? So
it depends on how your prep center process goes.
Yeah.
So my prep center, they use Inventory Lab. They never have to get into my actual seller account.
Printing labels.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
This is good.
Yeah.
No, this is important stuff though, because I'm not gonna lie. That does there's some nights it's before I'm going to bed. I'm like, fuck, man. What if one of those heads shuts down? Careers.mcdonalds.com
gets shut down, and they linked everyone to that.
To everyone, all the Amazon accounts get shut down.
Single computer's logging in theoretically to every single one of those accounts.
Yeah. So here's my thought process on that.
He's
if they were going to do
about
something like that. So if they were going to do something like that, they probably would have done it already.
Yeah. The Purge, Order 66.
Amazon, I think that a lot of times us as resellers like to think that we're like sneaking past Amazon and they don't know what we're doing. But I'll tell you this, I run a 50,000 person Facebook group of Amazon sellers. There's Amazon employees in there. Mm-hmm. I know there are. And there have been 1 or 2 people after they left Amazon have come out of the woodwork and said, oh, hey, I've been in here for a while and, been following you guys and, can we talk now? And I'm like, oh, sure. Absolutely. Amazon themselves used to do retail arbitrage, actual employees of Amazon back in the day before there were enough sellers. So they know everything that we're doing. They know we use prep centers, they have prep centers as part of their network or whatever that's called, so they know what's going on. They could have shut us all down a long time ago, but they won't because we sell 57% of the products on Amazon.
Garrett, I'm so upset you didn't know what Order 66 was.
I didn't hear what you said.
What is Order 66, Garrett?
I don't know.
All right, well, get him out of here. That's a 30-second timeout. Bezos when he stepped out fat. Yeah, he was in the group. Definitely on that. Fortress Brands, any IP issues?
Fortress Brands.
My own podcast. That doesn't work.
I'm not familiar with Fortress Brands, but if you shoot me a DM, I'll look them up and
Toss it in
I can.
the database. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. They found her government work email. Took me to take down. ISO Pure. Came across a shoe listing. 3K BSR. Check the offers on Keepa. Sold last 30 days is inaccurate. Please don't look at that data. Move the column all the way to the right. I know, Jake. I know. Tyler, Jake, the aristocrats of the audience. Like, Garrett should be ashamed of himself.
I haven't seen
You're not invited to the soccer game on Saturday anymore.
I haven't seen one Star Wars movie. I'll put it out there.
Man, that's
Something I learned recently. Okay, you guys are familiar with Mr. Beast, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Beast, he got together with a couple of guys who a podcast I
So
listened
sick.
to.
MFM. Yeah, I was listening to it like 2 hours ago. Yeah.
The guy's never seen Star Wars or Harry Potter or any of those things. Like he's just
Tunnel
so
vision.
focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. Not that I'm comparing myself to Mr. Beast, but I haven't seen.
Well, yeah, no, maybe that is a trait. The common theme. It's like the overlapping things, like people who haven't seen Star Wars. Andrew Tate, Garrett, Mr. Beast.
No, I mean, but
making
the same token, I'll take 2 hours out of my night to watch football or basketball or.
Well, basketball is fine, but
I'll sit for 5 hours on Sunday and watch 2 straight games. It's just, I guess everyone has their thing, right?
Gonna end up ripping off My First Million and like doing a Camp OA or something because that sounds like a ton of fun.
Because it was interesting how he was talking about how we actually really I would be really interested in talking about that. But he was talking about how like there was nowhere to hide when you're living with the people. You know what I mean? Like you had to be yourself, and that was dope. Yeah. The content would be so good from that too. Any preppers? Yeah, definitely. There's some that do merchant fulfilled as well on that, gents. But okay, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thanks a lot, Chris. That was a great 70 minutes here on that. Final question here, pretty good question. Let's all give our own unique answers to this. Chris, you got first.
All right, let me. Hey, I know this guy. So what helps
he's
scale
great.
better
We
in
just
the
had
long
him on,
run?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just buying more products or building systems for the business. Okay, so here's my opinion. My opinion is in the long run, processes and systems are going to help you scale better because once you have the right processes and systems in place, it really just becomes an addition problem. It doesn't become a business problem. It's okay if I can run this process, and I know that every person who runs this process can find me, let's say $100 of profit every day. All right, I can take someone off the street, teach them this process, they can find me $100 of profit. Well, now it's all right. How many times can I replicate that? Can I do it 4, 5, 10 times before I run out of capital? And that's it. It just becomes an addition problem more than it becomes anything else.
Yeah, I'll personally say you do whatever you can to get to 10K profit a month, which is like buying more products, stuff like that. And then systems come later. You optimize once you're already at a full-time income, like 6 figures type stuff, like profit run rate, then you optimize, in my opinion. And that so many people are worried about optimizing when they're not even making any money yet. And you just chad buy inventory and then you optimize to sustain it, but you grow as quick as you can, just buying more inventory, rinsing and repeating, blocking and tackling.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it depends on what your scale is, right? You can bootstrap 120, 150 without any systems, organization, et cetera, like you just said.
We've all done it. Yeah.
Getting past that point consistently is either going to create a lot of headaches, or you're going to have to find a way to organize your products, organize your systems, organize your data to make everything more efficient, right? Because eventually you want your business to continue to exponentially grow without putting in that same exponential work. That's just how the progression is. And the only way to do that is to start to optimize systems, that sort of thing. So your business can keep going like this and you can keep going like this.
Sweet. Cool. Sounds good. So follow Chris, Clear the Shelf, podcasts, Instagram, YouTube, even some Twitter action, I think, as well right there.
I'm trying.
Absolutely, man. on that. So thanks for coming on. Thank you guys for all listening on the live replay as well, or the live as well as the replay. I think, Garrett, we're trying to do at least like 2 to 3 of these live ones a month from now on, and everything. So they'll be on the Flips for Miles channel. And then if you're not watching it live on Flips for Miles, you're seeing the replay on the Buy Box Bandits channels and everything like that. So get a free trial of SellerAmp, link in the description, and have a great night. We really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Sweet.